Okay, so it seems that there's been a little bit of drama slash some kind of situation going on in the VTuber space. Now, this is something a little bit different from what I do, but this was kind of crazy that I thought, I would cover it. Now, this is from a VTuber called Sinder, who's been growing at a very, very fast rate and has been, grown a very big audience. And, well, has even done stuff as, become the partial owner of Gamersubs. And, that's a brand that I constantly work with and love. And, obviously, I see a lot of her stuff plastered around. I see a lot of her content and her interacting with a lot of people that, I watch. And honestly, it's very interesting to see what has happened because a lot of this reputation may have just come crumbling down. Now, this actually comes from an artist called Nanoless. Now, Nanoless also works on some similar stuff and is in the same kind of space as Sinder and has worked on a lot of things for Sinder in the past. Now, they go ahead and actually release this Google Doc saying, "Hello, I'm here to share something that's affected me personally and hurt others. This was very hard for me, but I feel it was necessary. Please do not send hate to anyone on my behalf. This is all I want to say." Now, this was a Google Doc pretty much called terminating my work with Sinder. They say, I wanted to share my experiences with Sinder and Red manipulating me, using me, and dragging me into drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about people I thought were her closest friends. Not only do I no longer wish to work with Sinder, but I want to share what I've endured over the years and shed light on what she's been doing behind people's backs to protect artists and friends that may be experiencing something similar. So again, this has all just come out, this isn't just like drama to do with, they haven't like commissioned me or they blocked me from commissioning other people, whatever. This is also calling out some things that Sinder has been saying behind the backs of people and pretty much, been a little bit kind of shady, I guess, towards some of her, what, they thought were her friends. Now, obviously they're saying, I struggled a lot with writing this document and wasn't sure if it felt, if I felt and experienced working was real or just burnout, but I think this proves that I was lied to and manipulated over the course of the years while working with Sinder. Note, based on working with Redacted, Red, Cinder's manager, and Sinder over the years, that I am sure they speak for each other, and there's no reason to believe Red was acting without Cinder's consent and knowledge. Whenever I use they or them, it refers to both of them acting as a team. English is not my first language, and there's a language barrier, so again, it's going to be kind of hard to get a lot of it through, which again, is totally fine. And pretty much they say, yeah, slandering other creators. I'll start with screenshots of them showing them of speaking ill of other creators and spreading rumors. And apparently, in addition, they also spreading ill rumors. They also complain and accuse Bao of giving their editor too much work, resulting in their editor not having any time for new clients, which will be important later on. The screenshots below show them showing their affection and appreciation immediately, followed by spreading rumors and lies to make their other clients appear problematic and pretty much just manipulate the situation in general. Now, you can see here, Nanalus, they said, of course, I wanted to understand it better. Especially if I can cancel her for the second time. Well, it's like kind of coming up here. She's given a lot of bias and priority at GS, sometimes over Cinder, and we can't really confront them about it. And plus, she's gone 3D later. And then they go on to, talking about Bao. They say, Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. She hijacked our YouTube editor a while ago and is constantly picking up artists that we work with. We've gotten to know her better being with people, but she's really rubbing us the wrong way with the things that she does. We want to try and safeguard the most important artists from her since she's already taken our editor. And I don't mean like she's taken... And I don't mean like he doesn't work with us anymore. He does, but he has to dedicate time for her from now on. So essentially what they're saying here is that Bao has taken, a couple of editors, has taken a couple of artists or whatever, and, but they haven't actually fully taken them. It's not like this artist isn't doing work for Cinder anymore. They're still doing work for them. It's just that they're not dedicated to her, which I think is fine. I feel like if you're an artist, you want to make as much money as possible. You want to work with as many creators as possible. So I feel like it would be totally fine to, go around and work for multiple people as long as you can get the right output for everyone. And, obviously this person wants them to be very dedicated to her, but I just don't think that would be the case. But they say, well, we would love working with you. Cinder wouldn't be Cinder without Nano. Okay, but let me tell you the tea about the MV thing. Bao had original songs last year that had her MV by her editor, and the songs flopped. Her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying that he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. We managed to squeeze him in the Boss Rush MV between his work with Bao. He said says he loved working on the project and is super excited to work on the next one. So essentially they're saying, you know, there's been a lot of editors that are very disgruntled with Bao and stuff like that, and they're trying to manipulate the situation to make her seem like a worse person. Now, obviously, yeah, we don't know anything about the actual true situation or what truly happened, but this is what they're saying to Nanalus to make Bao look even worse. And they're saying, and now she's barking up a tree of one of our L2D animators. So like Aldi Nano model, yeah, looking for me sounds sus for sure. So essentially, yeah, they've just manipulated the situation. I'm guessing Bao wanted some kind of art or model or whatever done by Nanalus, and well, you know, they've manipulated the situation by bringing up some other accounts which may be real, might not be real, we don't really know, you know, pretty much saying that, oh, she's done this before, she's trying to take all of us, and now she's going after you type thing to kind of manipulate the situation, which again is very wrong. Now they say Red asked me to cancel one of their closest friends, Bao, by asking me to cancel their work mid-progress, manipulating me into thinking it was okay as she has many connections and should be fine. So again, they're saying, did you cancel the models? I did not. They say Nano Arc delayed to 2026. I'm scared to cancel with Bao. So again, they're trying to encourage them to continue moving forward, and this is all coming from Redacted, who works with Sinder. And obviously they're saying exclusivity and blacklisting other creators. In the message below, they mentioned wanting an exclusivity contract, but they didn't want to pay for exclusivity. But rather, when a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission, they would guarantee me a model work for Cinder only, and if anyone asked me for commissions, they commission me instead to compensate for not working with other creators. This felt very strange given one of the accusations they made was overworking the editor, yet their solution to me was working with other creators was for them to essentially overwork me to keep me from working on other projects. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. They say the messages below show that the primary concern is that more often non-Cinder models I make, the less valuable my existing models become. So yeah, they're essentially saying that, yeah, Nanolus's models become less valuable the more that, you know, they make of them. And obviously, yeah, they're saying, you know, following screenshot is them setting up the blacklist, saying I'm not allowed to work with any new clients or create any new outfits for VTuber 1 specifically, and justifying those things by saying that with each model my art becomes less unique and less special, and therefore Cinder somehow will become less special herself. Now, they're saying the idea that my work as an artist and designer is being devalued by working with other people is insane and hurtful. After realizing what taking a deal with them would really mean for both my workload and my mental health, I backed out, which again is a good move from Nanoless there. And they say, I mean, like, if you wanted to have some kind of model exclusivity, what would you need to make that sustainable for you? Maybe you could share one of your ideas and I can check what I think. Okay, so I got some ideas for this, I guess. I was driving. What are you thinking? Okay, so asked help from my friends. They don't know it's you, by the way. So a monthly fee calculated my monthly earnings. Also, how long would this be? And, you know, if this counts for models I've already worked on. They say, well, I think the main thing we're looking for is for you not to take on any brand new model clients and not to make any new model and outfits with one particular VTuber again. You'd still be able to work on models and outfits with all of your existing babies, and your artwork comms will not be affected. One of our concerns is that more nano babies means more nano models don't have the same value anymore. And the second is that there's a few people that would rather just not be able to have a model from you, which, yeah, it's kind of crazy. You can see that they're very clearly manipulating the situation there and essentially saying that, hey, you're not allowed to work with all of these other people because your model design becomes less valued, which I just don't think is the case. I feel like, you know, a lot of artists are able to switch up, you know, model designs very, very easily. You know, not every single VTuber is going to end up looking like Cinder. You know, there's very, very different styles and everything like that I'm sure Nanalus can, you know, switch up, which again makes a lot of the art unique and, you know, keeps that value. It's, yeah, again, as I said, it's not like they're just like cookie cuttering the same design over and over again. They say, what about we can pay blank for you and you don't have to discount it from the next payment, and we'll continue giving you lots of model work, I think, for this year right now, but don't work with blank or blank at all. Again, models or art, I don't think you've ever done anything with blank or blank before. We also have another GS label for you too, the AFK. Is there any way to add a little bit more since blank still asks for art every now and again? We could do it like when blank asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece, like, so you still get a job from it. So essentially they're saying like, hey, if you're not getting work, then, you know, just ask us for another job and we'll give you it, because again, you know, they're trying to manipulate it so that they only work for, you know, Cinder and only work for these people. Now this keeps on going on. They say another example of speaking ill of the other creators right after they saw I was working with Shy Lily, trying once again to make the idea of working with other clients seem like I'm setting myself up with problematic people who will do me no good in the long run and get me to reconsider working with them. So again, it keeps going and going. They say, you know, hey Nano, have you got more plans with Lily besides just the model? So essentially, you know, there is a lot. I'm not going to read all of it because again, there is, you know, this is a 19-page long Google Doc. They pretty much keep going and going and going, asking about other VTubers, including, you know, ones like Shy Lily, who are very, very big VTubers, and, you know, manipulating things to try to get them to avoid working with them, which, yeah, it's just a very slimy thing to do in the VTuber community, because again, this is an artist, you know, people support a lot of these artists and they want them to get as much work as possible and work with many new people. And then they say, below, I wanted to push back and make clear I was uncomfortable on being dragged into drama, and they responded by bringing up more drama and baseless claims. They say, Cinder, just wanted to say sorry for stepping back on the exclusivity deal, wanted to apologize personally with you since I've only talked about that with Red. But I just don't want to be dragged into any kind of personal issues like that. After all, blank's still a client and it makes me anxious and kind of destroys my mental to do this kind of deal. They say, I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's really just confusing going back and forth about it. I just get compared to her a lot, even still to this day. And it's like I'm always living in someone else's shadow, which is one of the reasons why Red asked about not making any more models for her, which again, yeah, they're talking about Shy Lily there, I'm pretty sure. So again, that is pretty crazy. Now, they keep on going saying, and when you said, I understand if things don't work out, it makes me feel like you're okay with not working with me anymore, which hurts so much after all of this time. So this is actual proof of Cinder kind of doing this as well. You know, obviously at the start, we've had Redacted, who she works with, kind of manipulating the situation. It's never actually been Cinder herself, but this, you know, obviously moves on to DMs with Cinder. And well, it seems like she's doing exactly the same thing. She's saying, you know, it hurts that, you know, it seems like you don't want to work with me or whatever. And he said, I don't really see the point of thinking about, you're so much bigger already. You've done so much more, but I would never give blank any priority over you. Also, there's not even any model for her being discussed. I just want to sleep clear-minded. Also, I'm fine with not doing her models, but at least Gamer Sub's art would be fine with me. They say it's not just me, but other people's opinions of us. And I'm just trying not to get involved in any drama that other people don't want us comparing or something like that. And they say, sorry about this, my mental health is just a bit weak. They say, same girl, I'm so sorry for bringing you in this. They say, I want to get you that money. The whole situation is just kind of sucky. They say, justifying their behavior by stating that they're simply looking out for me when none of this actually has anything to do with me in the beginning, and manipulating me into being grateful for earning well thanks to them, despite the loss of my work from long time returning and new clients. They say, concerning my work and models in a team, they say, along another example of going after other clients of mine from before, claiming that they're having more clients alongside my work makes my work less special. So again, this just seems to be a point that they're driving home, is the fact that, you know, it's just like less valuable if, you know, they continue working for other people, which is just so stupid. And obviously, yeah, it seems like a lot of this has been exposed, and there's a lot of kind of evidence here to suggest a lot of this. We've got damage control, making sure none of this reaches other VTubers and is kept all hush hush, while also providing proof that they know what they will do is unintended and should not get out, and it would cause issues for Cinder's career to be painted in this light. Note that the uncalled for shot at VTuber 1 is even spoiled a hidden message in Discord. So they go all ahead and just keep talking about it and say, I try to be more transparent as possible. I think it's more fair to be I think it's more fair for both sides this way. You didn't tell blank you cancelled because of what Cinder did you? No, I told them it was all health issues. So again, they're trying to kind of like defend it and be like, hey, you know, you haven't just like told them that, you know, Cinder told them, because that would be very bad for them, because, you know, it would all get exposed essentially. They say the constant obsession with VTuber 1 and claiming that she is always is asking for it by causing this unspoken competition, which is coming from absolutely no other source than Cinder herself. I don't know who VTuber 1 is and who they're actually talking about there, but maybe it will come out. Maybe it is, I'm not sure, because obviously there's a couple of VTubers thrown in the mix. Obviously they talked about Shy Lily back there, but I don't think it is her because they did mention her by name. And also there's other ones like Bao, but again, I'm not sure. But they keep referring to them as VTuber 1. And yeah, they've got even more evidence here, pretty much covering a lot of this stuff up. They said, "I'd like to highlight the irony of expecting to be entitled to recognition for her own efforts and size when her own active efforts are tied to sabotaging this very same VTuber. Also, feeling entitled and insisting to be recognized by someone else is odd. Thanks for taking the time to read through everything. I hope everything makes sense and everyone who has been hurt, manipulated, or sabotaged by her will find closure." So again, that is the entire Google Doc there. I'll definitely leave a link down below if you guys want to go look at some of the other kind of evidence behind it. There is a ton of evidence in there. It's just mainly Discord DMs. Now, obviously, Bao also put out a response to this, and also a lot of other people put out some stuff behind this about Bao. They say, "I was very hurt by someone I thought I was a friend," and they also put out a 8-page Google Doc essentially talking about their experience and everything that's gone on with them, which again is kind of crazy. They say, "Nanalus asked redacted while she's encouraging her not to finish my model. Redacted then lists the name among various other VTubers, as well as the vendettas against Cinder, and redacted harbor against Bao has been getting on her nerves for a while. She's hijacked our YouTube editor," which is crazy. And, this situation seems like it's going to be ever evolving, because obviously Cinder actually did put out a reply over on Twitter saying, "Effective immediately, redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber career," which, yeah, good move, I would say. It's a pretty good move to get rid of him, because it seems like he's being super manipulative. But at the same time as well, Cinder, you did kind of mess up too. I feel like, there was a lot of manipulation from her, kind of part going ahead there. And well, it seems like it's both their problems, and it seems like the main community response to this is like, hey, yikes. Obviously a lot of people are just not very happy with her. And well, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this, and if there's anything else that kind of evolves from this situation, because again, Nanalus is such a huge artist, and it seems like a lot of the support is going for Nanalus here. You can see in the replies, Shy Lily also replied there saying, "We'll support you no matter what. No one deserves to go through this. Your feelings are valid," which again, Shy Lily being very professional there, I'd say, just due to the fact, obviously she was mentioned in this Google Doc, so and not really mentioning anything about it, that's actually, quite professional to do that. Obviously got like Buff Pub as well, Cottontail, Ellie, like there's so many big VTubers actually on the side of Nanalus here, which is great to see, as it seems like Nanalus was kind of screwed over. And well, this is probably an evolving situation, which I would definitely keep you guys updated with. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, this is a pretty crazy situation overall, and this is a pretty different video that I'm doing over on this channel. So if you guys do enjoy it, then yeah, let me know down in the comments, because I will make more on VTuber stuff and just general stuff going on like this. But hey, we'll have to see.